Hanny Time. A daily look at sports from our resident historian. Your sports break during your lunch break. Now, here's Charles Sandegriff.
And a pleasant good afternoon to you. Welcome to Hanny Time 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Charles Sandegriff, Mario Jerez, Taylor Sharp, Scott Rabalais with us here in about 15 minutes. We're going to do first class, second class, and no class. Can I tell you one of the ones that I threw out for no class today? Just because I found something better. You ever heard of a team going somewhere and a player playing so bad? Just leave him there. Just leave him there. The heck with him. He's done. Don't even get him. He doesn't get on the bus. Doesn't get on the plane. Usually it's because the players played bad, right? So I was gonna chastise the Giants for leaving their punter in London. But the guy averages 51 yards a kick, so the joke didn't really play, right? I mean, it's because, well, you know, our punter, Jamie Gillen, I think, he said, well, he couldn't get back on the plane. He had passport problems. And I'm like, oh, well, he didn't have any passport problems getting over there. What was the problem with getting back? I don't want to get in a whole diplomatic situation here. Right? Well, we knew about those problems. So you went to London with a punter that averaged 51 yards a punt, planning on leaving him there. That's kind of no class, right? Can we blame the State Department? I don't know. I've heard of coaches being left at the airport. Lane Kiffin comes immediately to mind. Just left him on the tarmac. You're a terrible coach. You stay here. This guy's a pretty good punter. They just left him over there. Might make it back for Sunday. You bringing in any other punters? No. Okay. Where's your punter? He's in London. Doing the bridge tour, gonna go see the tower, go over London Bridge and all that stuff. He'll be back for Sunday, no problem. Brian Kelly talking to the media here about a couple of hours ago. The big news was very, very good, and it surrounded Will Campbell.
Yeah, Will was released from the hospital. He has cleared all of the testing necessary for him to practice. He practiced yesterday. He will practice again today, and we expect him to play this Saturday.
Okay, short and sweet, but better news LSU could not have gotten. Losing Campbell on Friday of last week was not the only reason that LSU lost that game. Had Will Campbell gone through a completely normal week, played the entire game, LSU probably still would have lost. Tennessee is significantly better than the Tigers. But it did change a whole lot of things. It moved multiple people on the offensive line, and when they lost Dellinger, it hurt even more. The continuity that they've tried desperately to build with, the same five people was upset yet again. Not their fault, but boy, it sure would be nice if they could go with the same five guys in the same five spots for more than a game. Did it hamper Mike Denbrock's play calling? I would imagine a little. Again, does that excuse or explain everything? No. But if you can put not only do you get back for practice, so you can go about filling in your other two spots. Now, if you want to move Anthony Bradford back inside to guard, well, now you can. Does this mean that Miles Frazier can go over and play the other guard? Now it does. By the way, going back and looking at the film, I didn't think Xavier Hill played all that bad. For somebody who was thrust into action that we didn't expect to see thrust into action. It wasn't great. He wasn't Larry Allen out there, but I didn't think it was terrible. But you can get back to having something that you've had some continuity with. So Will Campbell being back gives them the opportunity, to get their best five, the five that they feel are their best, back on the field, and it allows them to get back into and I say their best five healthy, because if they had their best five, Dellinger would be there. So the best five healthy guys, this is one more of their top five healthy guys, and it allows people to play more in their positions. Bradford, they like better at guard. Kelly told you that on Monday. So Campbell coming back, that's very, very good news. Kelly's also been asked a lot of questions about his quarterback, so he went into a little detail about Jayden Daniels.
What what he did to separate himself was, the experience of playing the position. Didn't make a lot of mistakes. Was really good with the football. Had, obviously from our standpoint, a little bit of an edge over Garrett. Garrett did a really good job as well, but just felt like with his experience and his percentage completion throughout camp that he deserved, and we felt like we had the best chance to win with him. Obviously it was a disappointing loss, but you can't pin it on Jayden Daniels. I mean, that was a team loss, and everybody was accountable, including the coaches in that loss. So he needs to continue to step forward. I mean, this is a big game for him as well, going on the road, managing our offense in a very difficult environment. We've got to see that progression. We've got to see that improvement again this week as well.
And I agree with Kelly that this wasn't all on Daniels. I've said my piece about Daniels. I think he is a competent quarterback, not great, not terrible. He goes back to the same thing that we talked about during camp, which is he is more comfortable with Daniels than Nussmeier because he makes better decisions. That's, loosely translated. He doesn't throw as many interceptions. Now, or he doesn't turn the ball over as much. He did such a good job with that they were to the point where they're like, it's okay to throw an interception every now and then. Can't make an omelet without breaking an egg. So they accomplished what they want to as far as ball protection. They almost did, not almost, they did. They went a little bit too far. Now they got to run him back the other way. But I thought that in this past game that if the offense struggled, and it wasn't that the offense struggled to move the ball, it was just that they struggled to score in the first half, that there might have been a quarterback change. There wasn't, and now I don't think that there will be, short of an injury. The other quarterback in this game, Anthony Richardson, there's a lot of similarities between Daniels and Richardson. They're both dynamic runners. They both have the ability to throw the ball down the field. Richardson's got the stronger arm of the two, but he has struggled at times with his accuracy. And Kelly talked a little bit about defending Anthony Richardson.
Yeah, I've said this, I think, earlier in the week in my press conference. There's some similarities between him and Hendon Hooker in terms of size and physicality, his ability to throw the football. These are similar quarterbacks, and they're talking about Hooker as a Heisman Trophy candidate. So, he's got incredible skill. We're going to have to do a great job of containing him. They've got an outstanding offensive line that protects him very well and allows him to run the football, which gives him the opportunity to obviously have a balanced offense and throw the football because they're so good at running the football. So a very talented player. It was a breakout performance for him last year. I mean, young quarterback that, played very, very well on the road. That says a lot. I mean, that gave him a lot of confidence to continue to grow.
There may be some physical similarities between Hooker and Richardson, but I think that the physical similarities are kind of where their games end. First of all, Hendon Hooker is 24 years old and Anthony Richardson is 21. That may not sound like a big deal, but I believe that it is. It's 3 more years of learning your craft, and Hendon Hooker is playing at the absolute top of his game. The tantalizing thing about Richardson is that if in 3 years the top of his game looks like the top of Hooker's game, then you really got something, because out of Daniels, Hooker, and Richardson, Richardson is probably the most physically gifted of the 3. Not probably, he is. He's the fastest guy out of the 3. He's probably the strongest runner out of the 3. And he's got the best arm. What he doesn't have is the consistency that Hooker has put into his game now in what is his 6th year. That's why NFL teams are so excited about Anthony Richardson, is because they think if you look at what he has accomplished to this point, well, what's he going to look like in 3 years? Because he's got every tool that you could want. He just hasn't been consistent with it. So I understand. I would compare him to Hendon Hooker from Virginia Tech much more than I would compare him to Hendon Hooker from Tennessee. And I think, that the two quarterbacks, Hooker at Virginia Tech and Hooker at Tennessee, do not really resemble each other all that much in the production that they've had. Also heard from Billy Napier, who I'm not pushing, by the way, and where he thinks his team and staff are 6 games in.
We're very self-aware of what the things that we need to improve. I think ultimately when I wake up every day, that's what's consuming me is, becoming more efficient, really working hard to help eliminate some of our deficiencies, to minimize error, really focus on our process here, right? We're in year one, and I think everything that we do is different and new, and I think each person in our organization here, is getting more and more comfortable with our process in terms of how we get the team ready to play. So players and staff, right? So ultimately, it's been a lot of fun. Heck, I love it. I love every bit of my job. I think the big surprise to me, there's not a lot of difference in what we do here compared to what we've been doing the last 4 years.
In practice, maybe. But I think the games are a little bit different. The competition's a little bit stiffer. But the first part of the clip was when he talked about eliminating the things that we don't do well. So what does Florida not do well? First of all, they're 10th in the league in giveaways. They've turned the ball over 10 times. Now, it's been negated because their defense is aggressive enough that they've also gained 10. So they're a net zero. But I think if you pressed him a little bit on the issue, they would like to avoid turning the ball over as much as they have. They have been a very poor pass defense team. They've given up the 11th. They're 11th in the conference in pass defense. That is most comparable to an LSU opponent in Mississippi State. Jayden Daniels threw for 210 yards against Mississippi State. Florida is not quite as good statistically against a comparable schedule to Mississippi State as what the Bulldogs were. LSU played Mississippi State in Baton Rouge. They're playing the Gators in Gainesville. Let's call that a wash. If Jayden Daniels throws for 210 yards in the game on Saturday, is that enough? Who can say? It was against Mississippi State. Would it be enough against Florida? Like I said, I don't know. Their rush defense is worse than their pass defense. They are second to last in the league in rush defense. They are most comparable as an LSU opponent to Auburn. They are 13th in the league in rush defense. Auburn is just a few yards away from that. LSU ran for 185 yards against Auburn. If they run for 185 yards against Florida, will they win the game? I'll take that bet. I don't know if Daniels throws for 210, if that'll be enough. But if they run for 185 yards against Florida on Saturday, I'm going to feel pretty good about their chances to win. Now, you got to run for 185 yards on the road. They did that against a comparable defense. But in that game, they fell behind by 17 points. The run game for 185 yards only had 3.8 yards per carry. They had to carry the ball 49 times to get to 185 yards. But I'll submit to you that if they run the ball 49 times for 185 yards against Florida, the way they did against Auburn, again, comparable defenses, I think I like LSU's chances a lot to win. Is 185 rushing yards enough? I think it is. Is 210 yards passing enough? Don't turn the ball over or create some turnovers in this game. Here's an idea. Create a turnover early and take a lead. They haven't tried that yet. Could work. Might be helpful. The big news out of the teleconference today is that Will Campbell is expected to play. We'll take a break. Scott Rabalais from The Advocate. When we come back, this is Hanny Time, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
This is Hanny Time.
Supreme Rice and SupremeRice.com. Delighting their customers since the 1930s. If you're having a family gathering, you're going to cook a big pot of something. In South Louisiana, there's a pretty good chance there's going to be some rice in it. White beans, red beans, some stews, some etouffee, maybe some gumbo. We're getting a little bit closer to that time of year. Make it with Supreme Rice. You're going to stretch your food dollar, first of all. You're going to enjoy a delicious product no matter whether it's the short grain, the long grain, the medium grain, the brown, or the jasmine. And it's real easy to get. All your AG food stores, all of your Walmarts, your Costco's, your Walmart neighborhood stores. Supreme Rice, very, very easy to get. So if you're going tailgating, still got a lot of tailgating time left in the year, or you're starting to look ahead to the holidays, or it's just everyday usage, make it with Supreme Rice. For more information and some unique recipes, go to SupremeRice.com.
In times of need, get a full list of phone numbers, websites, and other important emergency information on the Demco Stormwatch page at 1045ESPN.com.
Miller Lite has more taste and only 1 more calorie than Michelob Ultra.
We get it done with strength,
commitment,
dedication,
grit.
We get it done
with passion for our fans
and love for our community.
We are the Tigers.
get it done.
Let the values of the purple and gold be in your starting lineup this season. And as always, get it done.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Want more customers? Running Boards Marketing can help you get their attention. Imagine your brand's message on a giant LED billboard truck that can't be skipped and is nearly impossible to ignore. Running Boards Marketing is the leader in effective and affordable advertising on digital mobile billboards, which are 2 times more effective than traditional billboards. With a 97% recall rate, you'll leave a lasting impression with your customers. Visit us online at runningboardsmarketing.com so we can drive your message to where the people are.
Order curbside pickup online or with Rouse's Market Shopping app and let Rouse's personal shopper shop for you. Curbside pickup is free and you pay the same price for groceries as in-store. Use code SAINTS20 and save $20 on orders of $100 or more. That's curbside convenience. Shopper style.
Oh, yeah!
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644.
Moscona inviting you to join us for Wednesday's Hump Day AFR, presented by Pluckers. Peter Burns and Russ Mitchell join the show. We'll head up to Cincinnati, take a closer look at the Bengals. It's a Whiskey Wednesday. Join us 3 to 6, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
This is Hanny Time with Charles Hannegriff on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
And we bring in Scott Rabalais from The Advocate covering LSU football. Rab, how you doing?
Well, sorry about the problems.
No, you're good.
One of those things with phones.
Yeah, you're good. All right, so the news that Will Campbell is coming back for the game this weekend. I don't think LSU could have got any better news today. So what do you expect against a rush defense that's been pretty poor in the league? We looked at Florida's run defense. They are a team that you can run on. So we go to game plan 5.0 here this weekend. What are you expecting?
Yeah. Does this mean they still have another offensive line combination? I don't know. It seems like they've played without Dellinger and with Campbell. I don't know, but it's obviously good news for LSU. Yeah, Florida is kind of deficient right up the middle, so it definitely helps. Anything helps this offense, and they've got to be more balanced. Obviously, they're chasing Tennessee the whole time last week, so that threw the whole offensive plan out of whack, and I think 17 yards from the running backs combined. So that's got to be better, and Daniels will do his running too. So. Yeah, having Will Campbell back, is going to be huge. I didn't expect it, and people are looking for bright spots in this program. That they're feeling some worry or anxiety. His play and Emory Jones' play, as cornerstones for the future of this offensive line, you're going to have it for another 2 or 3 years, is very positive. And I think obviously having him back at the short term is too. So this is something else you have to exploit against Florida, which does have a vulnerability there, as you said.
Yeah, I know that freshman offensive linemen are going to take, they're going to take some lumps, but I think overall, man, what those two guys have done is extremely encouraging. If it plays out, I'm going to take a shot at this here. Campbell at left tackle, Frazier at left guard, Turner at center, Bradford at right guard, and Jones at right tackle. We seen that combination yet?
There've been so many.
I'm trying to remember. I mean, somewhere along the lines, yeah, I would think, but that's about what it would be, right?
Yeah.
If Campbell is ready to go. All right, Jayden Daniels. A lot of yards, but a lot of yards after the issue had been decided. I thought there were some passes that he threw in the first half that were pretty good. Not enough of them, but I thought that they were pretty good. So how would Kelly talked a little bit about Daniels and what had separated him in the coaching staff size. Where do you have him halfway through the season?
We had our little roundtable thing in the paper today and on our website with myself and Wilson and Leah Van, shameless plug. And
I read it. I came prepared. I read it.
One of the questions. I would say he's been good. He has not been great. He's not an elite quarterback. He's not a terrible quarterback. And I think he's been about what we thought. He did take some more chances and threw into some tighter windows Saturday than we've seen. That was good. It was good for the LSU offense. He still could, utilize the downfield vertical talents that guys like Booty and Neighbors and Brian Thomas have. But that still has to come. Obviously, he is what they wanted in this offense. They got what they asked for. You didn't. I was thinking today I'm going to write something about Daniels tomorrow as well. About if Miles Brennan had been the quarterback, you probably would have gotten better passing. But behind this offensive line, you wouldn't have gotten some of the rushing yards and escapability that he's shown that have definitely helped at times. That definitely helped. So I think it's pretty much. You can disagree. People can disagree. I think it's pretty much what else you needed. And this year, the question is going forward. As I said in the roundtable, is he a stopgap or is he someone who's going to give way next year to a Walker Howard or another transfer or something like that, because he's not elite. And to be where LSU wants to be, you have to be elite. You have to have that kind of quarterback. You look at all the teams that are in the elite category. Stetson Bennett, I don't know where we put him exactly, but he's played very well and won a lot of games. And so is Jayden Daniels that guy? I don't know, because he can come back next year and be your quarterback again. Do they want that, or is he going to be that? I don't know. But for now, he's making some gradual improvement and has to still improve in some other areas for LSU's offense to be more prolific.
I understand that he hasn't had a ton of help in the run game. Now, he did against Auburn. We went through that stat. But for the most part, the running game has been him. So I get that part. What I would like to see in the second half of the season is for the play caller to give him a little bit more help. Some things that are a little bit easier to complete, things that are short. Maybe ramp up the screen game a little bit, even if the wide receiver screen game even.
Yeah.
I could stand to see a few less balls to the tight end because, they don't have Kellen Winslow out there right now. And some things that would get his confidence going, some things that are easy to complete that have big play potential. I saw him throw the ball down the field against Tennessee. I saw him throw the ball across the field also against Tennessee. These things that take a long time to develop and take a long time in the air. I'd like to see less of that and more things that got going a little bit quicker, if you know what I'm saying.
That's fair. I mean, it's time for LSU, midway through the season, probably to break some tendencies and to break out some new things. And like he's shown, he can go on the road and lead you to a win over Auburn team. I think Florida's probably a little better than Auburn, so he might have to play a little better. But I'm with that. Yeah, things that are confidence building for him. And it's not just on him, as we've said, and I'm sure you said. There continue to be drops in the receiving corps. Those guys have to help him out better too. Some of the balls are a little, off target. Like maybe a guy has to reach back for a ball, but they're catchable, and they're still catches that can be made, and they got to help him out a little more in that regard too. So So if you give him some slightly easier throws to make, I can get on board with that. I wouldn't. I think Josh Williams has been maybe my favorite player on this offense this season because he does everything. He's not great at anything, but he does everything: run and block and catch. And I'd like to get him more involved in that way too. A little trickeration. Charlie, we haven't seen one thing other than jet sweep is not really trickeration. A reverse, something out of this offense. I would like to see something like that. Some kind of deception that could work against a defense like Florida that might be susceptible to it.
Yeah, I'm all ears. Anything you got that you think works, go ahead. Submit it to the committee. I'm all ears. Scott, I am of sincere hope, but have very little confidence that every time these teams play and these two coaches are matched up against each other, that there's going to be a comparison. I think it's foolish, personally. The only thing that they have going together is that they were hired in the same year. I don't think Billy Napier was ever seriously considered at LSU, and I don't think that Brian Kelly was ever seriously considered at Florida. I understand that Napier did his coaching in the state of Louisiana, and maybe if he had come from a different Sun Belt school, we wouldn't be having this. But where is this coming from, besides Glenn Guilbeau, that these two coaches have to be compared to each other just because they started in the same year?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just human nature, and because there are, and he's not alone. There are a lot of people who thought LSU should have hired Billy Napier, and he's a lot younger than Brian Kelly. You have to say that Billy's maybe 20 years younger than Kelly. He's in his early 40s, mid 40s at most. So it's just going to happen, whether you like it or not. Are we going to see a reprise of the 10-year war between Woody Hayes and Bo Schembechler? I doubt it. It's not fair for either guy for this game to be. People are going to make this though into some kind of referendum on the two hires. And if LSU wins, they're going to say, yeah, well, LSU made the right decision. If Florida wins, well, LSU should have gotten Napier. Florida made the better decision. They're both in the same place. 4-2. It's very similar. Both 4-2. Both trying to rebuild their programs. Both have teams that are lacking the pieces that they really need to be highly competitive, and pieces you think they're going to likely get. And also, let me say, as we keep coming back to scheduling, this is not an annual rivalry that is likely to continue. I mean, they're likely to see them every other year at most, within a couple of years, because of the new schedule format. I can't imagine Florida's going to be one of LSU's permanent opponents. So, but no, it's not fair and it's not right. But I think it's just human nature, and it is part of the background of this game. I don't think either coach could probably give a flip about that, though. I think Napier would have come to LSU if given the job, but he certainly didn't land in a bad place. And but this game, the result of this game is not going to be a referendum truly on where these guys are or where the programs are. It's just one game. Give me 10 years of games, and we'll see about that. But Florida's got more catching up to do than LSU. LSU's won 9 of the last 12 in this series, so I think the onus is a little more on Florida, and it being a home game, a little more pressure there to pull it out.
Yeah, I got the Miles to Saban comparisons because they both coached at the same place. I understood that. I understood the Urban Meyer to Steve Spurrier comparisons when they were talking about Florida. I don't quite get this one. Neither one of these coaches went down the road very far with either one of these schools. I even understood the Bobby Petrino stuff when Les Miles was here, because LSU almost did hire Bobby. Well, they got into a pretty deep conversation with Petrino.
They were the last two, weren't they?
Yeah, they didn't like him because, believe it or not, Petrino came off extremely arrogant and unlikable during the interview.
We just had that guy.
Right. So
what about Les Miles? He was likable.
Yeah. Well, I got no problem with unlikable, but they got to win a lot. So no, I don't quite get the comparison between these two, but que sera. Rab, we appreciate your time as always. We'll talk to you next week.
Thanks, Charles. And Charles, remember, we're closer to the start of next Masters Week than we are to the last Masters.
Is it the Masters? The solstice? Is that what you call it? The Masters solstice?
We're on the downhill slide.
Okay.
Yes, it's a good time to be alive.
I'm happy for you then. I know that puts you in a good mood every year. Thanks, Scott. Appreciate it. We'll take a break. Come back. First class, second class, no class. When we return, it's Hanny Time, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
This is Hanny Time.
I'm buying my vehicles from Acura and Infinity of Baton Rouge. That's because the last 3 times that I've gone out and bought a vehicle from Acura and Infinity, I know I'm going to get top service. I know they're going to treat me like family. I know I'm going to get transparency in my pricing. On the Acura and Infinity pre-owned lot, I'm going to get the certified package. The certified pre-owned package includes 6 years of unlimited mileage, complimentary first-year maintenance, 3-month free trial subscription to SiriusXM Radio, emergency roadside assistance, and that's going to be so key if you've got a younger person that you're putting in to a vehicle for the first time, if you've got an older person that would not be able to take care of roadside maintenance. That is key. And, of course, the complimentary service courtesy vehicle. I love this feature. It means that I'm going to have a vehicle to drive while mine is being serviced. I don't have to sit there and wait for it. I don't have to arrange for transportation. It's all part of the package at Acura and Infinity of Baton Rouge.
Professional golfers John Peterson and J.J. Colleen answer all your golf and life questions inside the new Drop Biscuit Studios podcast for the people. Download or subscribe today at dropbiscuit.com.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
It's no secret. The best oysters in Baton Rouge are at Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar. Enjoy mouth-watering South Louisiana flavor and oysters from all over the country. And don't forget our nightly drink specials. Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar, located in downtown Baton Rouge.
Eli's always been into grilling. It took us a while to see it, but the signs were there.
What are you doing, Eli?
I knew grilling was my thing. I have been talking about it throughout my career.
Happy with the results?
I am. Got the new grill from barbecueguys.com. It performed great.
My advice, as I always told my boys,
do more of what you're born to do.
Barbecue Guys, for those who were born to grill.
You want cheese on your burger, Pops?
I'll take a little cheese.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has $11,000 off MSRP plus 2.9% with 72 months on all new 2022 Ram Black Widow trucks in stock. All new Bayou vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty and free delivery. If you need sales or service, the crew at Bayou is going to do right by you.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
This isn't just another day. It's so much more. Kelly's life was put on hold when her auctioneer primary care doctor discovered a rare blood disorder. Her doctor connected her to an auctioneer care team of cancer, heart, and kidney specialists. With multiple primary care locations around Baton Rouge, same-day appointments, and online scheduling, we're relentless about keeping you healthy. Auctioneer Baton Rouge, innovating healthcare for Kelly.
Oh, hey, what's up? It's Big D and Bubba, 100.7 The Tiger Morning Show. We'd love for you to join us every weekday, 4 a.m. till 9 a.m.
Yeah, everything you want in a show. Country music. We got laughs. We got celebrity in-studio guests. We just need you.
Join us every weekday morning, 4 a.m. to 9 a.m., right where it all started.
That's right. Louisiana's country station. 100.
On Thursday's OTB, the weekend is here. And let's open up a new weekend of football as we preview all the best games from college and the NFL and a brand new edition of Munchies. Off the Bench, 7 to 10 a.m., 104.5 ESPN.
This is Hanny Time with Charles Hannegriff on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Hanny Time. First class.
I want a seat in first class where I was booked and ticketed over a month ago.
Second class.
That no man should be subjected to the indignity of being labeled or treated like a second-class citizen.
And no class.
My life had become like school on Sunday. No class.
I'll tell you what then. Why don't you call me sometime when you have no class?
First class, second class, no class starts off with the schedule, because nobody complains about the schedule more than me. This time, this is football utopia this weekend. Weekends like this in the regular season, I mean, nothing compares to postseason football, but regular season football, this is about as good as it gets. Do not be discouraged by the fact that it leads off with Washington and Chicago in the NFL game on Sunday night and finishes with Broncos Chargers, two of the worst coaches in the NFL going right now. Those are the bookends, but everything in the middle, the meat of the sandwich, is really, really good. The college football, I think the matchups among the ranked teams are getting enough pub. Penn State, Michigan, Tennessee, Alabama, the Oklahoma State, TCU. Look, those are all matchups of undefeated teams. That's fantastic. But you've got three other matchups of ranked teams. You got NC State and Syracuse. You got Kentucky and Mississippi State, which I don't know how many times in that series those two teams have both been ranked, and USC and Utah. But even past that, there's a lot of if you eliminated those 6 games, which the 6 games at the top of the card, you would still have a lot of really interesting games this weekend. Like Auburn and Ole Miss is been relegated to the 11 o'clock time slot. Auburn has dominated that series. They've won 18 of 22 in the series, but there are 2 touchdown underdogs in Oxford this weekend. Not to mention, that's before you get to the, hey, after Ole Miss dusts them, is Lane Kiffin going to go coach at Auburn next? I mean, it's just delicious storylines. Kansas and Oklahoma. Oklahoma's in not quite an unprecedented free fall. I'll get to that in a second. But Kansas, when's the last time Kansas was this high? It's been 15 years ago. Mark Mangino, right? When's the last time Oklahoma's been this low? I'll tell you in a minute, but when I get to no class. But it's been a while, okay? You got Minnesota and Illinois, 4-1 against 5-1. You got Arkansas and BYU. What a unusual game. Arkansas's never been out to Utah, never played BYU. That's interesting to me. You got Wisconsin and Michigan State. You got an interim coach on one side and a $95 million coach on the other side. One of them's been coaching for 1 week with his team. The other one's been coaching for a couple of years, and the team with the interim coach is the favorite on the road. But LSU and Florida, or Clemson and Florida State, these would have been top-of-the-line marquee matchups, top 10 matchups, top 20 matchups in a lot of years past, not this year. But they're still interesting games. Miami and Virginia Tech, even though that used to be a marquee game. Even something like Washington State and Oregon State, that's a pair of 4-2 teams. UNC and Duke, that's 5-1 against 4-2, and they're not even, it's not even basketball season yet. So there's a lot to like about this weekend. Starting tomorrow night, there's even a couple of decent Baylor and West Virginia for a Thursday night game. It's better than Bears Commanders, okay? Trust me on that. So this is a great football weekend. First class to the schedule for this weekend. Second class, I'm going back to, I never believed when we were doing summertime shows and when we were doing August shows during camp, never figured that I would talk about Kansas football this much. But they've become a very compelling story. So now Jayden Daniels, who's apparently is not going to play this weekend, but may not be out for the year, which is what they thought earlier, is being replaced by fifth-year quarterback Jason Bean, Jelly Bean. I had to go look up Jelly Bean after he came in through 4 touchdown passes and kept Kansas in the ballgame last week against TCU. He threw for 286 yards, 4 touchdowns. That's pretty good. He's actually made 16 career starts. He was a 3-year player at North Texas and started 9 games for Kansas last year. Numbers weren't great, 6 touchdowns, 6 interceptions, but Kansas, wasn't very good a year ago. They were trying to do the transition year thing under Lance Leipold. At North Texas, he actually wasn't all that bad. In the COVID year, 14 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. Not bad. Can Jason Bean be the thing that keeps Kansas's miracle season going? I mean, this kind of thing just doesn't happen at Kansas very often. So he was good. Maybe he's got a chance to be great. I don't know. 4 touchdown passes in 3 quarters of football is pretty good. They got a game with Oklahoma this weekend. I think that's interesting. So my good with a chance to be great is Jason Bean, the quarterback at Kansas. And from my no class this week, I always love it when there's a coaching search at a big school, including the big school a few miles from here. You get a blue blood that goes to looking for a coach, and you would inevitably hear from alumni, maybe even administration, listen, the school sells itself. Anybody could go in here and win 8, 9, 10 games, which is absolutely false. I don't care where you are. I don't care what you won in the past. I don't care how much money you got. The job does not do itself, which leads us to our no class, which is the Oklahoma Sooners. Oklahoma, in their history, is the 4th winningest program in the history of college football. They've got a little bit of tradition. As a matter of fact, this was interesting. They're actually 5th. They tied for 5th with Notre Dame. Over 100-plus years of football, Oklahoma and Notre Dame have won exactly the same amount of games. How bizarre is that? And Texas has won 1 more than Oklahoma. Why? Because they won last Saturday. 100-plus years of football, they've won exactly the same amount of games. These programs do not run themselves. You would think that, though, at Oklahoma. It's some pretty good coaches over the year. I mean, if you've won the 4th or 5th most games of any program, you've done pretty good. Bud Wilkerson was there for 17 years, won 14 Big 8 championships and 3 national championships. Chuck Fairbanks was there for 6 years, won 3 Big 8 titles, 2 Sugar Bowls, and a Rose Bowl. Barry Switzer was there 16 years, won the Big 8 12 times, and won 3 national championships. Bob Stoops was there for 18 years, won the Big 12 12 times, won a national championship. Lincoln Riley was there 5 years, won 4 Big 12 titles, and got to the playoffs 3 times. But not anybody can do it. I think Oklahoma's never had bad years. They hired Gary Gibbs when Switzer left. Now, Switzer left a, how can I say this nicely, renegade program when he left. That's why they ran him out. It certainly was because he wasn't winning. Gibbs was okay. He was 44-23-2 in 6 years, but he never finished higher than 3rd in the Big 8. So it wasn't a complete disaster, but it wasn't what Oklahoma was used to. And they hired John Blake. Schnellenberger was there for a year, but they hired John Blake. He was 12-22. God rest his soul. He was 12-22. And over a 3-game set, lost to Nebraska, Oklahoma State, and Texas A&M by a combined 150-21. I say all of this to tell you that when I say Oklahoma is in no class this week, it's Brent Venables, who has given up in the last 3 games 145 points and 1,762 yards. That's at Oklahoma, where I just listed coaches going back 80 years that could win. But not just anybody can win. Alabama had their downtime. Georgia had theirs. Notre Dame had theirs. Ohio State had theirs. USC had theirs. Florida State's having theirs right now in the last several years. Miami's had theirs. LSU had theirs. Hired Curly Holman. Not really good. By the way, did you know that back in the 60s, Oklahoma hired a guy named Gomer Jones? Coached the team for 2 years. And they hired Curly Holman. There was some snickering around there. It's like, who hires a guy named Curly? Well, Oklahoma hired a guy named Gomer. Did Gomer have a winning record, Mario? What do you think? I bet you never heard the name Gomer Jones before today, right?
With a name like that, I'm going to say no. No, I have not. And no, I don't think he had a winning record.
Taylor?
I'll go against the grain and say, yeah, why not?
Yeah, Gomer Jones was 9-11-1 at Oklahoma because come on out and meet the new coach, Gomer. Gomer's a college football Hall of Famer, okay, as a player, not so much as a coach. The programs do not run themselves. No matter the resources, no matter the cash, no matter the history, they do not run themselves. You can't just put anybody in there, which is not to say that Brent Venables, what's a hard time saying his name, not to say that he won't turn things around and be a very successful coach. We can get anybody, and it doesn't matter, because whoever we get will be good, because we're fill in the blank. Doesn't work that way. We'll take a break. We'll come back. We'll get some of your submissions out of the chat. We'll hear from Taylor and Mario, see their submissions are. This is Hanny Time, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
This is Hanny Time.
Coming up this weekend at Big Mike's, another live music lineup. Tomorrow night, it's Chris Allen. On Friday night, it's Billy Harris. And on Saturday, DJ Clarence during all of the college football action, including LSU and Florida. You can set up your whole weekend around football and Big Mike's out in Denham Springs. On Friday nights, if you're out late for high school football, the restaurant is open late, family friendly, so you can bring the kids in after high school football. The adults want to wander over into the bar for live music and cocktails. Of course, that's going to be available to you as well. Happy hour drink prices all day on Sunday for New Orleans Saints football. So you get out and watch the Saints and the Bengals. And I was talking about the great schedule this weekend. I didn't even bring up Saints, Bengals, or Chiefs and Bills, Cowboys and Eagles. It's going to be a great. You can do those, stack those three games back to back to back on Sunday. Do it at Big Mike's, part of the fabric of Denham Springs on Aspen Boulevard. Big Mike's, we're kind of a big deal.
Our listeners fire off their opinions on the jimsfirearms.net hotline at 499-1045. Keep listening for your next chance to shoot us your thoughts with the jimsfirearms.net hotline on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Before we begin any electrical work here, we perform a home safety check that begins at your electrical panel to make sure that you and your family are safe. For all your upgrades, installations, and repairs, call Mr. Electric.
They said I was small, weak, said my heart wasn't strong enough. But I showed them what heart looked like, again and again and again. Mom got me the right care, the right doctors with Blue Cross coverage. Don't let people tell you who you are. Show them the right card, the right care.
ServiceMaster Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact ServiceMaster Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. ServiceMaster Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
It's no secret. The best oysters in Baton Rouge are at Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar. Enjoy mouth-watering South Louisiana flavor and oysters from all over the country. And don't forget our nightly drink specials. Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar, located in downtown Baton Rouge.
Eli's always been into grilling. It took us a while to see it, but the signs were there.
What are you doing, Eli?
I knew grilling was my thing. I have been talking about it throughout my career.
Happy with the results?
I am. Got the new grill from barbecueguys.com. It performed great.
My advice, as I always told my boys,
do more of what you were born to do.
Barbecue Guys, for those who were born to grill.
You want cheese on your burger, Pops?
I'll take a little cheese.
I'm Jay Ducote. I grew up learning how to cook at LSU tailgate parties and right in my own backyard. And I created JD's Louisiana products to bring that Louisiana flavor to you at home for your backyard cookout. JD's Louisiana barbecue sauce, Louisiana molasses mustard, spicy and sweet barbecue rub, and more are available at your local supermarkets or by logging on to jdacody.com/shop. Put in promo code CST for 25% off at checkout.
Week 7 in the prep football season, and we get started Friday night at 6 with Louisiana Prep Preview, presented by the Baton Rouge Orthopedic Clinic. Catholic Eye and Central kick off at 7, and that's immediately followed by the Lake Urgent Care Lake After Hours Louisiana Prep Scoreboard Show on YouTube, Your View, and 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Host Mark Ramsey brings you bite-sized Hollywood history inside the new Drop Biscuit Studios podcast, You Talking to Me. Listen, download, or subscribe today at dropbiscuit.com.
This is Hanny Time with Charles Hannegriff on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Got some interesting ones out of the chat today. The first one is funny because it's sarcasm, I think. No class to T-Bob for doing the hype video, and then they lost. So it's T-Bob's fault, right? I don't think it's T-Bob's fault, but I do think it's a genuine attempt at humor in what hasn't been a very humorous post game to that game on Saturday. Todd takes me to task. He said, "Hanny, you crazy if you think LSU doesn't have some built-in advantages, especially in recruiting. They're the only team in the state." I didn't say they didn't have built-in recruiting advantages. Georgia has built-in recruiting advantages. Texas A&M has built-in recruiting advantages. Florida has built-in recruiting advantages. I'm saying that none of that is automatic. LSU had built-in recruiting advantage. There wasn't another D1 school in the state in the 90s either. But Miami came in and cherry-picked, and Tennessee came in and cherry-picked, and Florida State came in and cherry-picked, and all of a sudden it was like, where'd all the players go? So, yes, they do have those. But it's not that you can just put anybody in that seat and get all of those players. It's not not automatic. No class to the bandwagon Saints fans that are going to go cheer for Joe Burrow this weekend. I think you can be a Saints fan and still like Joe Burrow and just not root against him, not root for him this week. But I do think that there'll be some LSU fans that go down there that root for the Bengals. One of the things that surprised me when I got this job was the amount of LSU fans that don't care about the Saints and the amount of Saints fans that don't care about LSU. Where I grew up and how I grew up was, man, LSU on Saturday and the Saints on Sunday, and the love was equal. Okay, I actually got to see more Saints games as a young person than LSU games because every Saints game was on television, and when I was a teenager, every LSU game certainly wasn't. But there's a lot. It surprised me when I got here. The amount of fans that they're one or the other, and they really don't care about the other one.
Yeah, coming from NOLA, I honestly have seen a lot of Saints fans that don't necessarily root for LSU, but I've seen very few LSU fans that don't root for the Saints.
You've seen me.
Yeah. Like I said, more prevalent here, like Hanny's saying. I'm starting to kind of see that myself.
It was, it was just a little bit of a surprise to me. Ask Hanny, does Les watch Denbrock's offense and scream at the TV? There's some things I'd like to see changed for sure. Brad says, when Nick Saban left for Miami, did LSU consider promoting Jimbo to head coach? So the answer to that is yes. But as the story goes, Nick didn't give him a wholehearted recommendation. And that sort of led LSU to go and look elsewhere. I have found myself wondering a lot of times what would have happened had Jimbo Fisher succeeded Nick Saban. It's the road not taken. I personally think LSU would have been in pretty good shape. I think that Jimbo would have done a really nice job. Would he have eventually, would it have gotten stale by now? Would he still be the coach at LSU? Probably not. You're going back all the way to 2005 now, 17 years in the current landscape. Probably not. Would he have won a national championship? Yeah, I think he would have. Would he have won more than one? If Jimbo Fisher's coaching the 2006 or the 2011 LSU Tigers, yeah, I think he does win a national championship. Now, the thing is, he would have had to recruit those teams the way. Well, the 2006 team he would have largely inherited, but the 2011 team, he would have had to go get those guys. You know, he would have had to evaluate and make Tyrann Mathieu, for instance, a priority and get him in here. So, but if he would have just coached the 2006 or 2011 teams, yeah, I think he could have won a national title. But Saban didn't give him a wholehearted recommendation, so they moved on and went somewhere else. Third class, which we don't have, to UCLA, who's having a sneaky good season, and to Geno Smith, who has risen from the quarterback graveyard. Geno's having a great season. UCLA is better than I thought. I'm going against them the last 2 weeks. I'm done doing that. Hunt Hill is next. For Mario and Taylor, I'm Charles Hanniger saying thank you and good afternoon. Anytime, 104.9